Welcome back to Cooking with Kayla D. I'm Kayla, and this is my husband Randy. My disclaimer. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get all the up-to-date episodes. Today we're making chili rellenos and green chili rice. So let's get right into it. First off, rice. This is an Instapot version. You'll need 1.5 cups of any type of white rice, 8 ounces of green hatch chilies in a can, 1 tablespoon of chicken bouillon, 1 tablespoon of tomato bouillon. You can substitute that if you would like. 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of onion flakes, a tablespoon of oil, 3 cups of water, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now let's get to cooking. And as you can see here, I've got all my ingredients out. I got my seasonings all put into this bowl. My onion flakes, my cumin, my chili, my garlic. And then I have my green chilies. I bought the 2 small 4-ounce cans, put it all into one bowl, got my rice measured out. I have my water measured out, my oil ready. I have my Instapot on saute because we're first going to brown our rice. My pot is hot, so now it is time to add the cooking oil to that. So you're going to put in your cooking oil and it will immediately heat through. So then you go ahead and drop your rice right into that. You'll hear it start to sizzle already. And you're going to go ahead and just stir that around and toss that around a little bit. And let's get to browning up our rice slightly, just not fully. And as you slightly brown your rice and you can see that you've got color, then it's time to go ahead and move on to the next step. And you always want to make sure while you're doing your rice, you're constantly flipping it around so it does not burn. You can also do this any way you cook your rice normally. So you want to make a well in the center. We're going to drop our chilies right in the middle so they start to roast up as well. It will give it good flavor. There is a note to say that these chilies are not hot and neither are the chili rellenos. There's no spice or heat to these at all. It is just flavor, flavor, flavor. You'll want to go ahead and mix your chilies up into your rice thoroughly so they can start roasting in that nice hot saute mode, and you can smell it at this point. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in my water, and I'm going to stir that around really good. Once I have that stirred around really well, then I'm going to go ahead and add in my cup of seasonings, and that way I can start blending that in well. Because I am using bouillon, I am going to be stirring mine for 2 minutes total because I want to make sure that that bouillon dissolves within the water. You can substitute the bouillon, the chicken bouillon and water for using chicken stock, or you can also substitute the tomato bouillon for tomato paste. Just do not use tomato sauce because it will not turn out right. You can also add a little bit more cumin if you would like. It gives it a stronger flavor. This is a delicious version of my mom's recipe, and this is what I grew up with. She makes hers a little different. This one's more of the Mexican style of what you would get inside your local Mexican restaurants, and it is absolutely fabulous. And now that I have that all done, I'm going to turn my thing to off. I put my lid on and I'm going to go ahead and lock that. Once I have it locked, make sure that my valve is on seal, and then I'm going to go ahead and just press that rice button there in the top corner and just let that cook. And now to get busy with our chili relleno ingredients, you'll need 4 Plablano peppers, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of flour, 1/2 cup of flour, and 4, I will say, to 12 ounces of melting cheese, depending on the type you want to cook. When my husband saw there was no meat in that, he's like, "Where's the meat?" So I grounded up some ground beef with salt, pepper, and onion flake and garlic and added that into ours, as well as some cheddar cheese, but that is an optional thing. Traditionally, it's just melting cheese, which we used mozzarella. So first off, you want to take your Poblano peppers and you want to wash them really good, and then you're going to go ahead, and if you have a stovetop with a flame, a gas stove, you can go ahead and roast those on your open flame. but we do not. We have electric. So we roasted ours in the oven on this rack at 450 for 25 minutes. Checking on them halfway through, I flipped them all over. Now we're going to go ahead and put them directly into a container with a lid, or you can put it in like a grocery bag or Ziploc bag, but you want to get those into a silverware container so that you can have the sweat so that the skin is easy to peel off. With Poblano peppers, you are going to want to peel the skin off. And again, these are not spicy. You can get these at your local Walmart or grocery store. They are carried almost everywhere. There's no heat to these at all. So I went ahead and got mine in a Tupperware dish and put a lid on it, and I let them sit for 20 minutes until I felt that they were ready to be peeled. Okay, on to our rice. Let's pick up our rice. It is done. I let it sit in low for 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put my release on and remove the lid, and let's see what we have in here. Absolutely fabulous. Everything looks great. It's all cooked through. It worked out perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and just stir it around. Make sure to combine those chilies that kind of went towards the center all around throughout my rice. That house smelled so good. And those little hatch chilies that we put in our rice, it's basically almost the same thing that your Plablano is. There is no heat to it. Even though my can said medium, it wasn't. There's no heat at all. But can't you see just how delicious that looks? Look at the color, and oh my gosh, the smell. If you like green chilies, you're gonna really love this. So now I got my Poblanos ready to peel. I'm going to head and put some gloves on. I'm going to go ahead and peel the skin off and show you how we do this and get them ready. I'm also going to cut a slit in them and then also remove the seeds. You want to get as much of the skin off as you can, and it should just wipe off very easily. I know that some people just lay them flat and they'll crinkle up some foil and just scrape the foil over the pepper, and the skin just comes right off. There are so many different methods to do that, and it's actually pretty easy. So now let's move on to the next step. You want to get some scissors or a knife, and you're going to want to cut a small little slit so that it's going up and down from the stem to the tip of the pepper. You want to make a little hole in there. And don't worry, like I had some that actually split into 4, so it will happen. You can use just toothpicks or something to seal that up before you're battering them. For now, you're just going to go ahead and remove any kind of ribs and seeds from inside of your chili as well as you can. You don't have to worry about getting all of it out of there. It's fine. But try to get as much as you can because it does kind of have a little bit of a bitter taste when you leave them in there. But you just want to do that and then set your chili to the side and then continue to do that to the rest of your chilies. Once you have the rest of them done, you want to get you out some kind of a sheet pan or something with a liner on it and sprinkle some of that flour over the top of it. We're going to try to keep these chilies from sticking together. We're going to stuff them, and then after we stuff them, we're going to roll them in the flour so then the batter will stick to them easier. So you definitely want to do that. If you're keto, then you can opt out of this section, or you can use some type of low carb flour replacement to make these if you still want to use the egg batter on the outside for frying. Otherwise, you can just bake them. And like I said, my husband was like, "Where's the meat?" So we stuck meat in it, and actually he loved it. I didn't, so that's why we opted to put some of the cheddar cheese in there as well. Next time I'll definitely make them like that for him, but for me, I'm just going to add extra melting cheese. Now, if you're doing a meat into yours, then you definitely want to only use about 1 ounce or 2 ounces of cheese per pepper. But me personally, the size of these poblanos, I'll definitely want to be using at least like 2 mozzarella sticks or about 3 to 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese per poblano. Any melting cheese will do, but that is the traditional way to do them, and most definitely that will be the way I do mine next time. So you want to go ahead and just roll your pepper as gently as you can into another dish that has flour in it, and make sure to get any excess flour off as you can. without you losing any of your filling, and then set that onto that sheet tray with the flour. You want to get all your peppers stuffed like you could see here, and then you're going to start working on your batter. The batter is just eggs and a little bit of flour. So you're going to separate your egg whites from your egg yolks and keep your egg yolks to the side. Make sure your egg whites are going into a larger bowl for whipping, because we are going to whip these up like a meringue. Now, if you are low carb or keto, you definitely want to use a keto friendly flour to add into this, or don't add any at all. I mean, you don't have to. I've seen plenty of people cook chili rellenos without adding flour into it. So you're going to go ahead and take your mixer, and you want to whip up those egg whites until you get stiff peaks, and then we'll go ahead and add in our egg yolks. At this point, you are not going to need your mixer any longer. So you can go ahead and discard your little blender wands there. I don't know what they're called. All these years of cooking, still don't know what they're called. And go ahead and get your yolks. Pour those directly into your bowl along with like a tablespoon or so of flour, and then you're going to fold in the flour and the egg yolks. And if you're low carb, you can withhold the flour. It's not a big deal, but gently fold that in until it is well combined and the yellow is all throughout the entire bit of your batter. And once you have that all combined, then we're ready to go ahead and start dunking in our yolks. Before I started blending this, I did get a shallow skillet. I used an cast iron skillet on my stove. I filled that up halfway with cooking oil, and I have that heated up to a medium to slightly over medium, headed towards high. Now that my batter is done and I have my peppers here, and I did have to put some toothpicks in some because they split into 3 or 4 different pieces, I went ahead and just counted toothpicks to make sure I knew how many, and then I went ahead and started rolling this into my egg batter. My heat is up to temperature. I believe it was like 335, and it got all the way up to like 360. You definitely don't want to get it past 375 because then these will burn. And I used a cast iron skillet. That way it kept the temperature about the same throughout the entire skillet. And went ahead and be very careful when placing these in. You want to place those in. You want to cook them for about 1.5 to 2 minutes on each side. That's all it takes, just enough to get it lightly brown. And with this being egg, it does brown up pretty quickly. You can do these in a deep fryer if that's the way you choose to do them. And again, you don't have to use the batter at all. You can just place them onto a baking sheet without the batter and just put them straight into your oven. And again, just cook it on like 375 to 400 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes, and they should be ready to go. Everything inside should be melted. If you're doing it in the oven, don't put flour on them on the outside. Just stuff them and stick them straight into your oven. They will come out absolutely delicious, and it actually is a simpler method of cooking them. But I had never had chili rellenos before, and this was my first time cooking them, and Randy had never had them, so we thought, let's do it this way and try them out. So we did it like this, and definitely I will do it without meat next time and just do the melting cheese. He loved it with the meat in it, so of course I'll do it however he likes it, maybe play with it and do some chicken next time. I don't know, we'll see. You can do anything with chili rellenos, and there's plenty of chili relleno recipes all over YouTube. Actually, I'll leave a link to a few different recipes that I've seen that I might want to try inside the description area. So if you want to try out someone else's recipe in a different way, it will be in the description area for you. So you want to cook these, like I said, for 1.5 to 2 minutes on each side. As you can see, it gets golden brown quite quickly. And since everything inside is heated through except the cheese, that's all you're doing is melting the cheese and browning the batter on the outside of your chilies. So once your chilies are done, you're going to go ahead and remove those. I just used the same pan I used them in the oven to roast them. I put them on top of that grate so they wouldn't get soggy, and I did put some paper towels in between the grate and my little sheet tray, so it would catch any excess oil. That way it would drain into that, and then I wouldn't have a big puddle of oil in my sheet tray. I could just throw that away, and it'd be a lot easier for cleaning. But you can do it however you want. And I just went ahead and continued to batter my chilies as well as I could. Like I said, it's not like perfect or anything because this was my first time doing it. And I'm just trying to get it done and see what it tastes like. But it actually worked out pretty well. So now that those are cooking, you're just going to finish cooking up your chilies. One chili was enough for me and for my husband. But honestly, he was like, I can eat another half of a chili. We ended up having 2 nights of dinner with this. And it worked out really well. You want to let these cool off for about 5 minutes after you're done cooking them, and then they're ready to serve. Just to make sure that someone's not going to cut into their chili and get that hot cheese all over their tongue and burn themselves. So now our rice has been sitting and waiting for our chilies. It finished up right before we went to frying. So I went ahead and plated some rice on the plate, and I just thought that green chili rice my mom I grew up with eating, her recipe, would go great with a Chile Relleno, and that's why we went with that option. But there you go. You have a Chile Relleno and some green chili rice. And it's absolutely delicious. I hope you try this recipe. I think you're going to really like it. The Chile Relleno was really tender. When you cut into it, that chili is so tender from roasting in the oven and then having a light fry to it. Just remember to remove any toothpicks as you find them. Like here, I saw my toothpick. I was like, oh, I got to pull that toothpick out. Look at that sucker. But the cheese melted. It was so gooey. And it was absolutely delicious. And like I said, my husband was like, this is probably one of my favorite things I've ever had that was a Mexican dish. So I was like, oh, so you like them. So we both agreed. Next time we go to Mexican, we're both ordering Chile Rellenos. And we're going to see what they taste like in the restaurant compared to what they tasted like when we cooked them at home. It was so good. I'll also leave a link in the description area for your local Walmart to get some Chile Rellenos, the Poblano Peppers, so you can make this at home yourself. And a link for the hatch chilies that I used in the rice. Thank you for being here on Cooking with Kayla D. We hope you liked this recipe and that you will try making it at home. If you have had Chile Rellenos out in a restaurant, please comment and let us know if you like them and if you're willing to try to cook them at home yourself. And if not, I just suggest going ahead and giving it a try. Why not? Jump in and just take the adventure. Go on a food adventure. And also, I would like to take that time, speaking of adventures, and do a shout out to Heidi and Adam from the Country Collectors. They have a YouTube channel where they travel all over the world collecting countries. Currently, they are in the great country of Mexico. If you have not checked them out and you like traveling or like to watch other people travel, we suggest you check them out. There is a link in my bio, and also right here at the top left, you can click on the card icon that will take you straight to their channel. Watch a couple of videos and you decide, are the Country Collectors right for you? They sure are for us. They inspire us every week, and we are so grateful for you, Adam and Heidi. Cheers. Adios.
On the last day, that great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried out, saying, If anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink. He who believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. John 7, verses 37 and 38.
As always, we have pictures here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. These were actually taken from locals here in the area, and this is a full half rainbow here from start to finish. Somebody sent this in to us on Messenger, and they did it anonymously through our group, so we have no clue who it came from, but it is an absolutely beautiful picture that was taken. And then we also have the sun setting, and again, that same person sent that photo in. So thank you, whoever you are. We really appreciate it. We thank you for being here on Cooking with Kayla D. And as always, God bless you all. We hope to see you again soon. Stay in that kitchen and keep on cooking. To subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, click the icon here on the left. And for more delicious recipes, here you go on the right. Adios.